How do I manage my self-esteem with my AuDHD? Hi, I'm Brett the Audio Boss. On this channel, we talk about autism and ADHD in the workplace. I'm Brett. I have over 12 years of leadership training and experience, and I have a diagnosis of autism and ADHD, or AuDHD. Recently, somebody asked me, how do I manage my self-esteem on the other side of my autism and ADHD diagnosis? I do tend to struggle a lot with my self-esteem, but I struggled with my self-esteem more before my AuDHD diagnosis and not as much after. A lot of that had to do with the fact that I needed to work through my internal ableism to address the specific issues around having a disability, having a diagnosis of a disability, and figuring out all the different ways, because there are so many ways that autism and ADHD show up in my life. In particular, AuDHD shows up. AuDHD tends to be its own unique thing because sometimes it's not quite ADHD, sometimes it's not quite autism, but when they're working together inside your brain, there's different challenges that can kind of come up that can impact me in a way because it's specifically AuDHD. One of the main reasons why honing in on an autism and ADHD diagnosis was because when I was in college, when I was in school, when I started my career, there were so many points that I would hit these walls where I would think, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do whatever it was? I could see areas where I would excel. I could dive deep into things that were of interest to me, but I would fail so many tests in school. I couldn't test very well. Like I did horribly on my SATs, but yet I can tell you everything you want to know about directing a television news broadcast. I can tell you everything you want to know about a social media strategy or coming up with a content plan. There are things over the years that always amazed me. Why can I see this thing so clearly that my colleagues can't see? Why do I have such a perfect understanding of that thing, but my colleagues can't understand that? And sometimes that would, in the corporate workplace, really kind of hit me in a hard way. There were things where I would see so many of my doubts, so many of my failures, so many of my, frustrations, those things that I would specifically try to do in the corporate workplace that would just drain on my energy, drain on my existence of struggling to get through the day. Certain meetings that I just could not function through, that I would get so bored. Certain tasks that you have to perform in the corporate workplace that just didn't work for me, that would lead to me feeling just incredible imposter syndrome, feeling like, did my boss promote the wrong person? Should I not be in this role? What am I doing here? I know these few things, but I don't know these things over here. And honestly, getting leadership training helped quite a bit, because I was able to at least go, well, you know what? I may not know how to do all these other things, but I'm learning the rules. I'm learning how to be a good leader. I'm learning how to be a good manager. I'm learning how to take care of the people who report into me. And I feel really good that I'm doing that. I'm putting the humanity of leadership first. But that didn't always help my self-esteem. Not that I necessarily needed to make sure my self-esteem was high all the time, but it still took a while to sort of figure out that self-esteem issue until I got my AuDHD diagnosis. I could finally see why certain struggles showed up on ADHD. I could see why certain struggles showed up on autism struggles and autism traits and autistic traits and things like that. But then I could see so many strengths. I could see all of the strengths that I had that were ADHD strengths. And I could see so many strengths that were autistic strengths. I needed to accept there was a disability in play here. I needed support. I needed support in ways that other people didn't need. What this came down to was managing my internalized ableism, which coincided with understanding masking, challenging my own internal ableism, and unmasking at the same time. It wasn't necessarily that I could just simply label something as, that's autism, that's why I can't do that thing, or that's ADHD, that's why I can't do that thing, or oh, it's my AuDHD, that's why I can't do that thing. It would be specifically like, well, now wait a minute. Autism and ADHD are presenting certain challenges to me because of how my brain is functioning. It doesn't mean I give up. It means I need a different way in. But what I would do is I would pair that with, and I can do this thing over here. So every time I'd hit this wall here, I'd also say, but I can do this thing. And if I can do this thing, I just need help with this thing over here. And the more I sort of would give myself the permission to accept, okay, yeah, I have a disability. Okay, yeah, that thing's gonna be harder for me. How can I get help with that thing? What are the tools that I have in place that I can get help with that thing? And sometimes it's as simple as, I'm having trouble leaving the house today. I can't figure out how to get out of the house. There are too many steps between me and leaving the house to go buy food, to get groceries, to do what I need to do. And those many steps are overwhelming me from leaving the house today. And I would start to feel terrible about myself, and I would start to have really low self-esteem. I give myself permission. Okay, today's gonna be a day that I order food delivery. Okay, I need lunch. I have all these meetings, and I have all this like inertia that I can't move through to just go run out and get lunch and come back. I'm gonna just order takeout and give myself permission to accept that I need that help today. When I started to make certain changes like that in my life without feeling worse, then I started to think, okay, what else can I do? That's a good step. Where else can I go? What else can I do? And then I started leaning a little bit more into another thing and another thing. I would start to sort of unravel different things that would sort of give me a little bit more self-esteem. And I remind myself often what those strengths are. In particular, the harder days where I'm struggling, or the days that I'm having a harder time with my self-esteem. And I'm like, why can't I do this thing? Why can't I do that thing? I give myself the permission to accept I'm having a hard time. I give myself permission to name I'm having a hard time, or that I am having a low self-esteem moment. And I try to name specifically what is that thing that's causing me this low self-esteem. I don't let it get away with me. I don't let it sort of take off and go off on a journey anymore. I used to do that all the time. I used to let those low self-esteem moments go off on a complete tangent, go off on a complete journey, and take me off of a trail of just negative thinking and negative thoughts and just going, oh God, that wasn't helpful. And for the parts of my OCD, that can be a really bad journey if I don't keep that in check. Now, I fully recognize, okay, that's an AuDHD thing. Sometimes if that thing is like really frustrating me, like, oh, why can't I just do this thing? Why am I struggling with this thing so bad? I'll go look up an article on that particular thing that I'm having to struggle with, because it's almost always connected. It's almost always connected to autism or ADHD, or AuDHD in some capacity. It's always. And then when I go learn about that thing and I do more understanding, more reading, more research on what that feeling is or what that struggle is, then I start to go, okay, it's not that I'm a failure. It's not that I'm screwing up. It's not that I've done anything wrong. It's not that I'm a horrible person. It's just that my brain is simply not letting me do that thing I need to do today. And that's okay. And now I need to figure out a way around it. But what is it that I need? Like, I'm still struggling with alexithymia. I'm not entirely sure if I have alexithymia. Pausing to specifically pull up the definition of alexithymia. So I'm going to the Neurodivergent Insights website, where there's a glossary of all the neurodivergent insight terms. And if there's not a term there, they're coming soon. They're building out this whole glossary to do more and more and more. So specifically, according to Neurodivergent Insights and Dr. Megan NF, alexithymia refers to difficulty identifying, describing, or sometimes even noticing emotions. A person might feel physical tension, exhaustion, or stomach pain without realizing those sensations are connected to anxiety, grief, or overwhelm. The emotions are there. The challenge is in translating them into words or linking them to inner states. Alexithymia isn't a disorder, but personality trait that often shows up alongside autism, ADHD, and trauma histories. So yeah, I have this problem frequently. I do have a tendency to have a physical tension that I can pick up on, but I can't necessarily identify why. This happened just the other day. 2 days ago, I was just having this tension in my body, and I was going through my whole day feeling this tension. I couldn't figure out what it was, but I couldn't quite lock into what any of those things were, and I couldn't figure it out. And for me, I tend to want to get that feeling out of my body right away. If I'm feeling some kind of tension, or I'm not feeling in a regulated state, if I'm ever feeling unregulated, I really need to get that feeling dealt with right away. One of the things that therapy will tell you is you've got to feel your feelings, which I don't love that phrase, but you do have to feel your feelings. And in some cases, you have to figure out what is that physical sensation. So sometimes just simply naming, hey, I'm feeling some tension right now in my body. I don't know what that tension is, but I'm feeling it. And I start to just observe the feeling, and I start to think about, where am I feeling that feeling in my body? Is it in my shoulders? Is it in my arms? Is it in my legs? Where is it? And then I start to think about, what could have happened in my day or week that could have caused that thing. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's how I deal with it. And then eventually I can kind of figure out what that thing is. If it gets really overwhelming, I need to talk to my therapist, or I need to talk to a friend, or I need to talk to a safe person to sort of figure out what that overwhelming thing is. And eventually it kind of comes to the surface and I can name it. Or sometimes it just goes away. But sometimes when I'm feeling that feeling, it can impact my self-esteem, because sometimes I immediately go to, well, what did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? Oh God, I must have done something wrong. And then I think about my performances when I was a boss, when I was a managing team, or did I let my team down? Did I screw up something? Is my boss mad at me? Oh, I haven't talked to my boss in a week. My boss must be mad at me. And then I start spiraling. None of that is helpful, of course. So I have to anchor into something. I return back to, what do I know is true? My boss is fine. My boss trusts me. We've had multiple conversations about the projects that I'm working on. If there's anything different there, they would tell me. My team, if there's a problem, usually will let me know. That's usually how things go there. And then I just sort of anchor into more grounding, foundational things that I know to be true. Or an alternative thing is I get up and I try to convince myself to go do something else. Go for a walk, think about something else, or go work on something that I know I'm good at. A special project, a special interest, dig into a special interest, put something different in front of me to change that thinking for at least 20 to 22 minutes. So that I can take a break from that thing, whatever that thing is, and try to just take my mind off of that drive, whatever that is. How do I work through that? What research do I need to know? How do I get curious about that thing? What do I not know about that thing? What kind of tools do I specifically need for me to help me with those things, and not what maybe somebody else on TikTok needs, or not some person who's going to finger wag and tell me, you know what you need to do. No, I need to figure out what I need for my specific brain, for my specific needs. The more I work on that, I'm also taking time at this stage of my life and going, yeah, I am proud of myself. Look at that thing that I did. Look at that amazing thing that I did. I did that on my own, or I did this with that person, and I'm really proud of myself. You know, like today, for example, time of recording, we had a huge snowstorm today, and, you know, I had to get out there and snow blow and shovel my driveway and do all this stuff. I had to help a couple of neighbors out and help them with their driveways and things like that. And at the other end of it, I took a minute to just look at my work, be proud of my accomplishment, and just be like, yeah, I actually had the energy to do that today. I got up early. I did this. I feel really good. It was good exercise. I'm really proud of the work I did. I know how to use my snowblower, which wasn't always the case. And I took smart decisions in the process of doing that. I used the strengths that I do have in my AuDHD, and I did a good job. And I'm proud of myself for that. And then I can kind of sit with that, just be like, okay, I can be proud of myself. And that's another thing that I do. I give myself permission to be proud of myself, which I didn't always do. Over the years when I was accomplishing something or I was doing something, there was always a, well, I did that, but no, I don't do that anymore because that doesn't help. Take the win. It's okay. Take the win. I'm proud of myself for that accomplishment. I got that thing done. You know, the days that I really struggle to leave the house to go get food or do whatever I need to do to leave the house, like go to the post office or just a normal task, I will give myself a little, yeah, I'm proud of you. You figured that out. You got out of the house in a reasonable amount of time and you accomplished the goal. It's helpful for me to give me that pep talk. I could get that from somebody else. Obviously, somebody would be willing to give that to me, but it's stronger when I give it to myself and it means more. And I feel better about that because that starts to manage that self-esteem issue with my AuDHD, especially when I see things that are struggles related to the AuDHD. The more I'm able to sort of tell myself, okay, yep, I got it. We see it. That's an AuDHD thing. Here are the strategies. Here are the things we're going to work through. We're going to learn more about that thing. We're going to come up with some strategies. We're going to come up with some plans. Or I'm going to give myself permission to say, okay, we're going to take an hour. We're going to take 20 minutes. We're going to take whatever we got to do. Just be like, okay, we can't do that right now. Let's go do something else. And then when I eventually do that thing, yay you did it, and be proud of myself for that. I hope that's been helpful. I hope that's been something helpful. This was a question that came up recently. Somebody asked about autism, ADHD, AuDHD, and self-esteem, and I just thought I would speak to it. Especially having been laid off a few months ago, you can't help but have these moments of low self-esteem and start questioning, how are you managing? And, it's hard to sort of move through that sometimes when you rise up really high in a successful work environment and then all of a sudden it just is gone. But that was never related to me. That was related to a business decision and other people were impacted by that. It was nothing that I did. And so therefore I have to not let that become a self-esteem issue. Be sure to also check out the Neurodivergent Insights glossary on neurodivergentinsights.com. It is tremendously helpful, and I'm a huge fan of that. Be sure to also check out the new self-care activities for autistic people from Dr. Megan Antonoff. This is brand new. It's out this week, time of recording. And this is a really great card deck where you can just go through all the different things. It's based off the book Self-Care for Autistic People, where you can go through sensory, physical, emotional, mental, social, and professional. Pick a card. This is perfect. Quiet Racing Thoughts is the card I just pulled. On the front, it'll talk through the physical self-care of quiet racing thoughts, and then on the back, it will give suggestions for what to do. You can sit with the card, think about it, and then put it back when you're done. Link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can like and subscribe. It really does help my channel grow and reach more people in our community. If there's a question or topic you'd like for me to talk about, let me know. I'm very responsive in the comments. Just let me know in the links below. Thanks for watching.